Brushes and Blades, and today I'm going to go over how I paint my power swords on my Grey Knights. Let's get to it. Alright, here are my 6 Grey Knights that we have to paint today for my full squad that we're going to end up doing. The other ones have flamers, so they're good to go and ready to rock. But like I said, we're here for how I paint my power swords. So here we have all Monument Hobby paints. This is dark gray blue, blue, and sky blue, and then a 50-50 between both these colors. So we're going to get that started here. I'm going to paint the leader here first, and we're just going to start by doing some basic banding. We're going to take the darker color first, and we're going to paint it at the base. I'm not too worried about its thickness or thinness because it's all going to get covered up. I'm not trying to fade it or anything right now. We're just going to paint it up until it kind of runs out. And because we are doing technically 5 colors, I'm not too concerned. I'm just worried about coverage at this point. That's pretty good. And then we're going to go to our 50-50. A little bit there. We're going to cover that up slightly. Just kind of doing a fade up. Like that. Paint away. And not drop the brush into the paint. Get our blue. Same thing, we're covering it up. Try not to wake too much away. Now we're going to go super bright here in a second. Get a little bit of this 50-50. Water there. Send that out. There we go. There we go. Right. I did it again. And we're going to go with that super bright sky blue. I'm not too concerned yet at the edges. It's all about the transition. And then we're going to reverse that. So, actually, why I cleaned my brush there. So we're going to do the reverse. We're going to go here at the bottom with the sky blue again, just like we did from the top. We're going to do edge highlights and stuff like that, so I'm not too concerned about it. I do also go across and use this in between of blue, where it's a 50-50 between blue and sky blue, and I use this for any places I want to really highlight and punch up the effect of the psychic abilities. So if like I'm using a character that's like using a psychic power and I want like their hand to glow or anything like that, trying to be dramatic, and or even what's actually going to get painted here in a second is going to be like this little power coil right here. We're going to use this 50-50. We're going to paint up here. And we're going to paint this right here. Paint this on both sides. And we will do a highlight with the pure sky blue, probably too, just to give it some definition. Just trying to get nice there. There we go. And we'll go back to this pure blue. And then the 50-50 between dark gray blue and blue. Really thin. Yep. This one, I could probably went a little longer on that one, but it's all good. There we go. And that's that side. So it does look a little dramatic, so now we're going to be worried about going in and kind of getting it really thin. A lot of water on my brush. It's super, 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 super thin. And then we'll go in really, really intense change in color there. Too much saturation. There we go. Just trying to get some nice feathering going on there. Super light and just drag it out. There we go. I like that swoosh. I don't like it to be striped like some people do, and that's why I also used 5 different colors technically, because just how it comes through in the final step just makes it extremely pop. Just trying to touch up some thin points here because I think it's so thinned out. There we go. And again, I'm not too worried about the raised edges because we are going to use the sky blue to do the highlight with. I'm just worried about these like extreme. Ooh, that was the wrong color. It happens. There we go. And we still have a little bit of harsh transition here, so let's try to fix that too. There we go, yeah. And then let's go back to the sky blue for the tips. Nice and bright. I like to have the bright sections a little bit more than the dark sections. There we go. Now let's get the other side knocked out. I'm not going to bore you with that, so just 1 second and we'll jump to it. So actually, before I'm talking about that, let's get nice and zoomed in here so you can see that transition there. It's trying to get away from the harsh lines. I like to give it like a bit of the, like I said, not quite checkerboard, but where I feather and drag, and then like this is perfect right here where it's like a little discombobulated, like it's straighty going vertically. I think it just gives it like the effect. It comes out in the last step. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy complete. All right, and now we have the backside complete too. We give that another second to dry. It's there's some couple spots we can actually hit up on there real quick. Looks like I didn't get too much of this color on there. Not a good fade. Yeah. Get that other blue on there a little bit better. Now let them examine it. And that's gonna be fine right there. So again, so just some jagged edges. Don't want them to be straight lines. You can still see where the silver primer is shining through on the edges. Like I said, I wasn't too concerned about hitting the edges because we're going to hit it with this sky blue. Actually want some thicker paint on here, get it nice on the brush. And we're going to do a nice edge highlight on both sides using the side of the brush. Light strokes, we're just trying to. All right, so let's see a close look at how that came out. Now we have a nice edged highlight, and we're not too worried about these like streaks. That actually makes this look a lot better. And we're not worried about the harsh transitions because our final step basically makes that disappear. We are going to go ahead and take advantage of this here, and we're going to go ahead and take really thin down sky blue, and we're going to paint this psychic coil a little bit brighter in the middle. Really, really thin now. Sometimes I actually like using when my brushes hook. I'll still continue to use them. So it's like projects like this, painting purity seals. Always actually ends up coming out kind of nice. I'm gonna hit that one more time in my brush. We're gonna hit this just in the middle to highlight. Just punch it up from 50-50 to the sky. So that's a 50-50. I used the base of this little power coil was 50-50 between blue and sky blue and pure sky blue as a highlight. All right. Now we're going to let this dry for a moment, and bust out the awesome hair dryer, or we could go ahead and paint the rest of these. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry naturally, and we're going to paint up the rest of these, and we'll be right back with all these guys ready for the final step. All right, now we have our base coat done on all of them. Um, I never try to do them the same. I try to think about like they all have different levels of psychic power, and I try to get different like crazy jagged lines in this. Because this step that we're about to do, I don't really care about how pretty it is. So some of them I kind of splashed on the highlights, like on this backside here. It's all crazy looking. There's one I did that was really defined. Like this one, I did almost some stippling to it with the highlight color. Some of them I left the base coat just sparkling through in some sections because we want to have that like bright little like super glow area, stuff like that. I think I make sure I painted all their little power coils coming off of their blades. I did. So all my halberds are painted with their base coat. Kind of a combination between feathering and wet blending. It's kind of what I did. I guess is the easiest way to describe that. But now we're going to move on to my secret of my blades. And I technically it's metallic paint, but it's also a color shifting paint. So it is green stuffs, color shifting metal, focus. There we go. Celestial azure. And I painted the lid. The lid is black. So this is what it looks like when it's black. And it kind of has like that bluey, purpley hue to it. My camera is really not liking this bottle right now. But when you put other colors under it, it reacts differently. I did a bunch of tests in the past on like sprayed a bunch of spoons, primer black, and then or different primer sets, different colors and stuff like that, and fades, and really tested this paint out when I first got it. Should have done a video on it, never did. Maybe that's something I'll have to do. Redo all that experimentation. But with how this comes out, it looks absolutely great. The only thing I would say with this, because you probably, if you use it in the same method, and there's other colors too. I really would love to do some Necrons. They have a green one that's with this. I would absolutely love to try that on some Necrons. I think it would look really awesome. between like my painting method of the method now. But look, as I digress, the only thing is you really got to shake this up. As you can see, let's see if I can get a good angle without it. It does a good job of getting all the, you got to shake it out. I had to put some beads in there, but it'll get gunked up in the corners and stuff like that. So you just got to get a really good shake. I don't, and generally don't, put metallics on my wet palette. I always use this right here, unless I know I have to come back. And I don't know what it is with metallics, they just fall apart, and this definitely does. This, if you put this on your wet palette, it's just going to spread everywhere. So if you want to keep your wet palette organized like I do, use this for, I don't even know what this thing's called. But here we go. I digress. And we're going to get this going. So we're going to get a good amount. I try not to waste this stuff. Oh man, look at that. You probably not picking up the same way in the camera. It looks almost white to me on the camera, but in person I can see purples and blues and almost like a pearlescent color going on here. Fun part for this, I'm going to get a clean brush and we're just going to cover all this up. Basically, this goes on super thin. You want it to go on super thin. And focus, there we go. And I'm probably going to do about 2 and 3 layers to really get the color intensity that we want from this. The most important part I've noticed with this is that you got to be really careful with this. If you have any bumps, it really, because of the iridescent, how it reflects, it really highlights any imperfections to the point where before I even prime these models, anytime I'm gonna do the weapon, actually I have some right here, I use 3000 grit sandpaper just to make sure there's like no imperfections. But let's get to it. Let's get this first coat on this first one. It'll look really weak for the first like 2 coats. I generally only do 3. Just getting really in the edges. I don't care if I get this like up on the halberd. I'm not the halberd. The palm, the gold parts right here. I'll actually let it pull up in there and I kind of push it on. And it transfers over to like the gold and it gives it that glow effect. But make sure it goes on super thin, because again, this stuff, it is metallic, so it can get kind of chunky. So I just keep wiping and wiping. There we go. Let's get the other side going. There we go. Let it pull in there. Wipe. The other edge. Pull in there. Just like a little circle. And pull. Just make sure we get all of it nice and thin. I'll probably do this too thin, to be honest. Now we're going to hit the edges real quick, just to make sure we get these top highlight edges. This is extra important with these halberds. The halberds, I should have pointed that out earlier. They have like a flat backside. So I just do this whole, I don't fade this as a third side. I just do it in that 50-50 between sky blue and blue, like I was doing earlier. We're going to let that one dry and we're going to move on to the next. And I'll see you in a moment when all these guys are done. All right, so that is layer 1 complete on all 6 of these guys. What I'm going to do is show you in between each drying phase before I start the next one. I'm going to just show you how it looks, and you let me know in the comments at what step do you think I should have stopped, or do you think I should have punched it up one more. We're going to go to 3. This is dry 1, so it's not really super metallic yet because it goes on super thin, but here we go. Alright, now that's layer 2 complete on all of them. The metallic is really starting to show. There you go, you can see it there. That's really coming through. And we're gonna do one more layer. I'm gonna let these dry for another like 2 minutes before I start this one. It's not wet, but it's probably still a little tacky because I just got done. But it's really starting to finally show that metallic look, and I'll get that third coat done, and I'll be right back again. All right, now we have the third layer done and dry. You can really see it. What I'll do is probably, it's just not picking up as well as the eye picks it up. You almost get like a purpley hue to it. You can see pretty good because you're seeing through the shine that I'm not seeing. You get a little sky bluish with a hit of purple on the darker areas, and it just really gives it that psychic look, in my opinion. I almost picture Grey Knights not really having like a blade to their weapons. I try to think of them. Jesus, I try to think of them more and less like a lightsaber. I don't know why. Where it's not a bladed weapon. It's like a lightsaber. I don't know. It just makes my heart happy being a bit of a Star Wars nerd and D&D and Warhammer and all that good stuff. These guys are basically done. I'm just kind of showing on. Well, that one's still kind of wet. Yeah, that one's still kind of wet. That must have been the last one I did. So all these guys are pretty much done. We just need to do some highlighting to them, add some recess, just kind of some shadows and stuff like that. But their blades are complete. They just need like a little bit of wash on like all the parchment and stuff like that, and maybe some touch-ups, and then throw their heads on, and they'll be good to go. As you can see, man, that shines right through on my camera. You can really see it, but with my eye, I can't really see it that well. That's crazy. But you can see where we did do those fades. Let me bring back that sword again. Let's try to get really close. Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, right there. All right, you can still see the fades. You can still see the highlighted edges that we took the time to do. Looks like it's still a little wet on the backside too. But you can see those small details, but you saw how chunky we left it, and why I did, because it looks so good. Nothing wrong with some streaks and stuff like that to get it going. What I'll do is once they are 100% and this video is done being edited, I'll throw up a picture probably about this time and really show off these models in better quality. And always remember, every stroke of the brush and swing of the blade adds character to your miniature.